Girivaradari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Rukmini Dwakadish Rukmini Dwakadish Rukmini Dwakadish Rukmini Dwakadish Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parabhakacharya Sutarata Sri Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT founder charges Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parabhakacharya Sutarata Sri Srimad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananti Kori Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Namachara Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Zagaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamikunarikun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Srimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Gauda Premananda Haribo. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, text number 21 today. Tam Tvanu Bhutyo Parata Kriyartam Swamayaya Vartita Loka Tantram Namami Abhikshnam Namaniya Pada Sorojam Alpiyasi Kama Varsham Tamtvanubhutyo Parata Kriyartam Swamayaya Vartita Lokashatantram Namamya Bhikshnam Namaniya Pada Sarojam Alpiyasi Kama Varsham Tamtvanubhutyo Parata Kriyartam Samayaya Vartita Lokatantram Namamya Bhikshnam Namaniya Pada Sarojamalpiyasi Kama Varsham Tantvanubhutyo parata kriyartam Swamayaya vartita lokatantram Namamya bhikshnam namaniya pada Sorojamalpiyasi kamavarsham Namamya bhikshnam namaniya pada Sorojam alpiyasi kamavarsham Tantvanubhutyo parata kriyartam Swamayaya vartita lokatantram Namamya bhikshnam namaniya pada Sarojam alpiyasi kamavarsham Namamya bhikshnam namaniya pada Vaishnavis Tantvanubhutyo parata kriyartam Swamayaya vartita lokatantram Namamya bhikshnam namaniya pada Sarojajam alpiyasi kamavarsham Tantvanubhutyo parata kriyartam Swamayaya vartita lokatantram Namamya bhikshnam namaniya pada Sarojam alpiyasi kamavarsham Tamtanubhutyo parata kriyartam Swamayaya vartita lokatantram Namamya bhikshnam namaniya pada Sarojam alpiyastam avarsham. Synonyms: tam, that; tva, you; anubhutya, by realizing; uparata, disregarded; kriya, enjoyment of fruitive activities; artam, in order that; swamayaya, by your own energy; vartita, brought about; lokatantram, the material worlds; namami, I offer obeisances; abhikshnam, continuously; namaniya, worshipable; Pada Shorajam, lotus feet. Alpiyasi, on the insignificant. Kama, desires. Varsham, showering. Translations and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. I continuously offer my respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet, of which it is worthy to take shelter, because you shower all benedictions on the insignificant. To give all living entities detachment from fruitive activity by realizing you have expanded these material worlds by your own energy. Purport. Everyone, therefore, whether he desires material enjoyment, liberation, or the transcendental loving service of the Lord, should engage himself offering obeisances unto the Supreme Lord, because the Lord can award everyone his desired benediction. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord affirms, Ye yata mam papadyante, Bhagavad Gita 4:11. Anyone who desires to be a successful enjoyer in this material world is awarded that benediction by the Lord. Anyone who wants to be liberated from the entanglement of this material world is given liberation by the Lord. And anyone who desires to constantly engage in his service in full Krishna consciousness is awarded that benediction by the Lord. For material enjoyment, he has prescribed so many ritualistic sacrificial performances in the Vedas. And thus people may take advantage of these instructions and enjoy material life in higher planets or in a noble aristocratic family. These processes are mentioned in the Vedas, and one can take advantage of them. It is similar with those who want to be liberated from this material world. Unless one is disgusted with the enjoyment of this material world, he cannot aspire for liberation. Liberation is for one who is disgusted with material enjoyment. Vedanta Sutra says, therefore, Atato Brahma Jignasa. Those who have given up the attempt to be happy in this material world can inquire about the absolute truth. For those who want to know the absolute truth, the Vedanta Sutra is available, as is Srimad Bhagavatam, the actual explanation of Vedanta Sutra. Since Bhagavad Gita is also Vedanta Sutra, by understanding Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedanta Sutra, or Bhagavad Gita, one can obtain real knowledge. When one obtains real knowledge, he becomes theoretically one with the Supreme. And when he actually begins the service of Brahman, or Krishna consciousness, he is not only liberated, but situated in his spiritual life. Similarly, for those who want to lord it over material nature, there are so many departments of material enjoyment, material knowledge, and material science are available. And the Lord provides for persons who want to enjoy them. The conclusion is that one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead for any benediction. The word Kama Varsham is very significant, for it indicates that he satisfies the desires of anyone who approaches him. But one who sincerely loves Krishna and yet wants material enjoyment is in perplexity. Krishna, being very kind toward him, gives him an opportunity to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And so he gradually forgets the hallucination. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Jnana Timiranda Shogananjana Shlaka Chakshum Tanjana Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpa Trubhyasya Kripasin Vevita Paritanam Pambanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So it's a very powerful verse. I like the end of it where Prabhupada says that, just keep at it. Don't stop. And eventually you'll get rid of your material desires. And course, this is a conversation that's been going on, and of course in the Bhagavatam, everything's not so symmetrical, everything's kind of here or there. And so this particular part we're hearing, well, originally it started way back with, okay, like that? Okay, thank you. Is that good? Okay. So, here we have Kardama Muni. He's speaking also. So it kind of goes back and forth. But I thought something that was really significant in this particular verse is how Srila Prabhupada explains the different aspects of sacrifice, of yajna. But in order to understand that point, one has to have a clear idea of what is sacrifice. What is it meant for? And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Maya yakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kunta jagat viparivartate. Krishna says that this material nature, which is one of my energies, so it's just one of his energies, and it's working under his direction, and it's producing all moving and non-moving beings, which I thought was really amazing. And then it's by its rule, this manifestation is created and then annihilated again and again. So this is our position, those of us that are in this material world. We forget that there is a supreme controller. And this process that's going on, it's by Krishna's rule, by his setup. He directs it. He started it, he directs it, and he set the rules down for it. And we're simply living entities that are living in this material world due to our past activities, due to our karmic activities. And we take birth in this material world over and over and over again. So Krishna, he's the supreme controller, and it's by his will, but he's in the background. Krishna is aloof. It's not like he's worried about what's going on. He allows the material energy to do that. It's by rule. Like if you have a rule, you can't drive over a certain speed. It's a rule. You can break it, but then there's consequences. So by rule, this material energy is working. And we're caught up into this because of our bondage. We're bound up in this material world very tightly. And material nature is doing its service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here Krishna, or Prabhupada says in the purport, Yeyatam mam prapanyante tam sadaiva bhajam yaham mam manuvartante manushyam parta sarvasaha. Krishna is saying that in all those that surrender to him, he rewards them accordingly. So we're here in this material world, we're being accordingly rewarded according to our activity, our function here. And he says that everyone follows him in all aspects, all respects. So Krishna is making a point that we're here for a particular reason. We're here because we've committed so many atrocities, and by those activities we become bound up. And when we become bound up in this material world, we're stuck here for quite a while, and so many different lifestyles. We've probably all been an animal, some type of animal or other. We've been in this material world for millions of years. And Krishna just fulfills our desires according to what we want through his material energy. And it's by rule, by law. It's not like Krishna takes any personal account into your activity. He just lets the material energy do all the work for him. He's aloof from all this. But at the same time, if someone makes a desire, effort to approach him, he'll listen. Krishna will listen. In this particular purport, that's said that. Let's read a little bit. Prabhupada says that anyone who desires to be a successful enjoyer in this material world is awarded that benediction by the Lord. Anyone who wants to be liberated from the entanglement of this material world is given liberation by the Lord. And anyone who desires to constantly engage in his service in full Krishna consciousness is awarded the benediction by the Lord. So for material enjoyment, he has prescribed so many ritualistic sacrificial performances in the Vedas, and thus people may take advantage of those instructions and enjoy material life in higher planets or in a noble aristocratic family. These processes are mentioned in the Vedas, and one can take advantage of them. It is similar with those who want to be liberated from this material world. So what I thought was important there was Prabhupada saying ritualistic sacrificial performances. So that's the nature of this material world. When you come here, we have to sacrifice. Whatever it is, if you want material satisfaction, power, you have to sacrifice. Everyone has to sacrifice. But what's unfortunate with this whole situation of sacrifice is what's the outcome of it? And we see that it's simply bondage. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yagnarta karmano niyatra lokayam karma bandhana. Yeah, right? Tam karma bandhana. Tat artam karma kuntiya mukta sangha samavircha. So Krishna says that work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu must be performed, otherwise work binds one to this material world. Therefore, a son of Kunti, this is something that's very important, O son of Kunti, perform your activities for his satisfaction, and one will become freed from bondage. So that's the problem. The problem is bondage. And we're very inclined towards working, but we want to do fruitive activity. Just like there's an example that Prabhupada gave about the tree, the two birds in a tree. And the two birds in a tree are sitting, and the tree has so many fruits on it. And a fruit for, yoga, a fruit for money, a fruit for enjoyment of this material world. And one bird is sitting there witnessing Parma, Svavasa Prabhu. Krishna's sitting there, and he's just witnessing what we're wanting. And we're looking at all the fruits. We're very inclined. We want to, oh, I want that, oh, I want that. And so the minute that you want that particular item, we're actually bound up. And these things are happening in this material world, whether they're good or bad. There's no differentiation in terms of bondage. It could be something really good, or it could be something very evil. It doesn't matter. Both create bondage in this material world. The only thing that can free us is if we actually serve Krishna. Therefore, the Krishna conscious movement is a platform of yajna. The whole Krishna conscious movement is based on that principle of performing yajna, or sacrifice. And that sacrifice is to please Krishna. And there's no other work that one can do to become freed from this world of bondage. Nothing. There's no other formula. The only formula is the Krishna consciousness movement, the serving Krishna in bhakti. Otherwise, everything binds us. It doesn't matter what it is. And I think that if we just think about that a little bit, you'll see, no matter what you do, it is good or bad, you get bound up. If it's good, you really get, oh wow, I really like this. And you want more and more and more. And so we see that that's the nature of this material world. And so here in the Bhagavatam, we see so many like Vidura and Kardama Muni, Maitreya Muni. They come together, they discuss all these different issues. And here we're reading and seeing in Bhagavatam desires. Here we see a desire by Kardama Muni, wants to get married. All of a sudden, it's creating so many bonds already. He's not even there, but immediately there's so many things that are coming in order to satisfy that particular desire. So, the great art of doing work in Krishna consciousness, just having the desire or beginning, it needs the expert guidance of a pure devotee of the Lord. We need that expert guidance. And just like in the Bhagavatam, we're reading about these great souls coming together and giving each other advice on how and what they should be doing. So for us also, it's imperative that we take good advice. It's extremely important. So, and we need expert guidance. And by that, we can become liberated. So if you take a look at the Krishna conscious movement, Srila Prabhupada came to America, gave us the Krishna conscious movement. By his expert advice and teaching, so many of us have become so happy in this material world. Very satisfied and happy, genuinely happy. And literally speaking, you have nothing. What do you have? I mean, okay, you have a dhoti. Okay, I'm over on it. I got a vest. You guys don't have a vest, but I have a vest. So, okay, I'm over on you on one. But we see that Krishna consciousness, everything we do is for our liberation, to get us out of this material world. And you can see that service is a yajna. It's a sacrifice. The devotees make a sacrifice to go on the altar and to make the deities look gorgeous, beautiful. And then when we see the deities looking beautiful, we get inspired. Oh my God, Krishna is so beautiful. I have to serve Krishna. So all these things are there to get us freed from this material life, from this material bondage. And the Krishna conscious movement is the perfect vehicle to get out of this material world. It's perfect. You can engage all your senses in this movement. The prasadam, eating good food, good association, and that's important. Good association is very, very important, because when you see these great souls coming together, it's not they just give themselves a big hug, and then that's it. Oh, Haribo, big old huge, oh, I love you, and all this sentiment and this. It's not about that. It's about having each other's association, each other's back, how to get out of the material world. So we want that association, but not just for just a hug and I'll see you later. I'll see you tomorrow and we'll hug each other again tomorrow. It's not about that. It's actually about coming together and engaging in devotional service, in Krishna consciousness. That's the substance of us getting out of this material world. And Prabhupada gave us the perfect vehicle. The perfect vehicle. There's nothing more powerful than what we're doing in Krishna consciousness. And as you go along Krishna consciousness, you realize that you develop a broader perspective. And that broader perspective it means that you learn how to discriminate more properly. You see, you see this and you see that, and you go, oh, well, wait a minute. It doesn't make sense. What's that verse? Akama sarvakama moksha kama udaridhi. Yes. This is discrimination, actually. It's good discrimination. But that person that is udaridhi means that one who's got a broader picture of what the world is about. And with that outlook, he can see, or she can see, that the ultimate controller of everything is Krishna. As we first started in the very beginning, that Krishna, this is his control of this material world. He's the one that's controlling everything, but he's not necessarily putting his fingers in it. He lets material energy do the work. But originally, Krishna's in control of everything. So that person that develops that broader perspective, they understand how to properly function. And even in this particular purport, Prabhupada says that that's the perplexity of a devotee, because the devotee still wants to enjoy a little something. We want to enjoy good prasadam, or we want good things, wonderful, beautiful things, natural things. So that's a perplexity, because how do you deal with that? So the Krishna conscious movement deals with that aspect in the process of devotional service, that you don't give it up. You don't stop When you start, you function, and you don't stop. Not at all. You keep going, and then that perplexity goes away. You develop more and more knowledge about Krishna. So bhakti and bhakti yoga is so essential. But in order for us to be satisfied, we have to accept the instruction, the law, the rule of law of Krishna consciousness. Just like, the material energy is following the rule of law of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's just following. There's no question. You're not going to come in and bust it up. We're not capable. So at the same time, as devotees, we have to follow the rule of law that's given to us by the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. He told us how to function, how to live, how to think, how to eat. Everything that there's going on, Srila Prabhupada gave us. And that is for our liberation, to get out of this material existence. And we see that the association of these great souls is extremely important. There's that verse in Bhagavatam, Shushushro Shadadana Vasudeva Kataruchi Syanmahat Seva Vipapunya Tirtani Sevanat. That service, who great devotees who are completely freed from all vice, that's great service. If you do that great service, by such service, one can actually develop desire and love for Vasudeva, Krishna, just by that service. So we should see that the Krishna conscious movement is important, and the conclusion is that we do need a spiritual master who's well versed in Vedic literature, who's also a great devotee. So knowledge alone is not sufficient. Just because you really know so many shlokas and so many things, that's not enough. It's not enough. What really needs to happen is that we have to inject devotional service. And there's a very nice example that Bhaddi Narayan Maharaj, when he gives his presentation, he said Srila Prabhupada saw this Sinclair paint, Sinclair paints. I don't know if they exist anymore. What is it? Sherwin-Williams, sorry. Yes, there's a planet Earth, and then it shows a can of Sherwin-Williams paint going over the planet and covering the planet. So in the same way, we have to perform devotional service. Just knowing things, having some intellectual knowledge is not sufficient for liberation. What is sufficient is when you add or you smother yourself with devotional service. You take up devotional service, you take the challenge, and you smother yourself. You don't run away from it. The more that you smother yourself in devotional service, the more one becomes purified. The more one becomes a beautiful individual, a beautiful devotee, one who loves Krishna, who's joyful, who's happy, and very eager to serve. So that has to be a part of one's repertoire, your science class here in Krishna consciousness. How to take up devotional service, how to become absorbed in devotional service. Because without that devotional service, it's not complete. So here we're seeing that these devotees that are coming together, they're speaking about devotional service. So when we come in contact with the material elements, which we do all the time, daily, we come in contact with material elements. And when we contact material elements, we actually create a knot in the heart. It just happens, just by the nature of it. Because when the spirit soul comes in contact with material energy, material element, it becomes attracted and becomes that hard knot of material existence comes there. And so this hard knot, it cannot be cut by just thinking I want to be liberated, or let me just become very knowledgeable. It's not enough. What really needs to happen is that devotional service has to be added to it. Then liberation comes as, it just follows you. Like it says in Nectar Devotion, when one is involved in devotional service, liberation follows the devotee with folded hands, asking, when do you want to be liberated? I'll liberate you now. And the devotee doesn't care because the devotee is already liberated. We don't need to have anything else besides that. So liberation from this material bondage is actually a byproduct of devotional service. And here we're reading the Bhagavatam, and we see that association is also a very important ingredient of devotional service. We have to have the association of devotees. It says that if one is, that the root cause of having devotional, the root cause of real devotional service is by the association of advanced devotees. And even if one develops love of God in the heart, if you develop love of Krishna, love of God, even if you come to that platform, it's still essential to have the association of pure devotees. It's essential. You cannot leave the association of devotees. You cannot do it. It's a must to have that association. So when I was reading this, I was thinking like that, how these really amazing personalities come together and they speak about the Srimad Bhagavatam. And what do they speak about? Everything. We're seeing here, Prabhupada in the purport, he's telling us about the different aspects of the Vedas and what they have to offer. But the main ingredient for us is devotional service. That's the main ingredient for us to be happy and satisfied. And that's the only thing that can cut that knot, sever. It severs the knot of material bondage, devotional service. That's the power of it. It cuts it with a sharp sword. And it happens on its own accord, as Prabhupada says in the purport, that Krishna, being very kind towards the devotee, gives him an opportunity to engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord, and so he gradually forgets the hallucination. That's what happens. Even in being in Krishna consciousness all these years that I've been, I have to struggle hard to remember my karmi life. What I was before I was a devotee. Sometimes I sit down and I think about, I can't remember 80% of it anymore. I had so many close friends. I can't even remember their name. I've forgotten their name. I forgot what they looked like. And so that's the power of devotional service, of Krishna consciousness. You gradually forget about this hallucination of the material world. Anyabilasita sunyam jnana, what's that verse? Anyabilasitam jnana kamari anavritam. Anukulyena krishnanu shilatam. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's a very powerful verse because it says that pure devotional service, if we want pure devotional service, we have to become freed from material desires. No more material desires. And then it goes on further to say that not only that, but you don't even want liberation. You don't care about liberation. And then, of course, the other thing is you don't want to engage in, karmic activity. You don't want to be engaged in that. So it says that if we want to have pure devotional service and be a lover of Krishna, we have to get rid of those activities of wanting to enjoy the material world, to engage in material activities, or even want liberation. But we just want simply to love Krishna. That's the goal, to love Krishna. Atasi Krishna namari nabavedgram indriya seva mukhi javado swayam eva spurat yada. Yes, it's a very powerful verse. It says there that the material senses, they don't know anything about Krishna consciousness. Nothing. Your arm, your leg, they don't know anything about the activities of Krishna. the attractive feature of Krishna, the form of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna. Nothing. But then it says that if by Krishna consciousness the devotee develops, they develop some type of understanding of Krishna, they're awakened, like they're awakened. And when they're awakened, and then they utilize the tongue for chanting Hare Krishna, and then utilizing the tongue to take Krishna prasadam, one becomes purified, and then one can know Krishna. So that's the Krishna conscious movement. That's what we do. And that's what we're all about. So for us, it's very simple. Bhakti yoga is the process for us to get out of the material world. Prabhupada has made a perfect arrangement for all of us. We don't have to speculate about anything. We just have to take advice from this pure devotee and follow it, and just be a sincere devotee. And one can go back home, back to Godhead, that easily, that simple. It's not a difficult matter. We make it difficult because we are bound up, and we don't want to take that advice of that Krishna consciousness that can actually sever this knot of material bondage. Jai. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.